We're in our 20s. We should meet people, go on dates.
Aren't you worried about moving too fast?
Catch me if you can.
It's an emergency. I'm so sorry. I'll call you.
It's super cool.
You're a crime-fighting, lady-slaying machine.
The Flash, new hit series this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
What's going on, guys? NX here today, and I just finished watching The Flash, and that was such a great episode today. Episode 11. We saw lots of stuff happen with Hartley, and let me get into that. So, at the beginning, we see an attack on Harrison Wells by, of course, Hartley. So what happens is Harrison Wells, we've never seen him before at his house, but he walks into his house or whatever, gets out of his wheelchair, and then after starts walking. And then turns on the music, gets like a glass of, I don't know, some type of vodka or something, and then after he walks underneath like part of his house where he has skylights. And then we see him receiving a phone call, and then the phone call says like, "I know your secret" or something. And then what happened was the skylight windows, they shattered, and then Harrison Wells, he ran away, like he flash ran away, like he used his super speed, and he like ran away from that so he wouldn't get hurt, of course. And then after after the glass behind him broke, and then after he fell on the ground, and so kind of confirmed Harrison Wells does have super speed indeed. And then we saw a lot of other things, including whenever they came to Harrison Wells' house after, we saw how Eddie, and we saw how Detective West had like, they thought that there was something else that was happening with Harrison Wells, and they thought like, how was he in his wheelchair and he was walking underneath the glass, and then after he just magically goes behind the, goes away from the windows. Like, how's that possible without him walking? And his wheelchair was parked like at the front of his house, but of course he probably had time to fix that. So a little bit later in the episode, at the end, we actually see how Eddie decides to, or well, Detective West tells Eddie to, in fact, continue searching why, like, and how Harrison Wells did this, and to search his house, and etc. So then after, we see the first glimpse of Hartley Rathaway, who is also known as Pied Piper, and we see him actually attacking his parents' building, and he's using his two sonic hand gadgets, which pretty much emit like a really loud frequency and break glass. And then we see Grant Gustin, Barry Allen, the Flash, pretty much takes him down, and then after he like throws the gloves off of him, and then after he says, "I know Harrison Wells' real secret." But the thing is, people, this, like, whenever he said he knows his real secret, I don't think he knows that he is that he can like run really fast. I'm pretty sure this secret was what happened at the night of the explosion, like that well, I'll talk about it later, but what he knew, like the risks of what was going to happen for the particle accelerator. So anyways, they caught him, they put him in the little box prison thing that they have underneath the lab pretty much, and then after they just waited, and Harrison Wells told them that the particle accelerator, he did know the risk of it, and then after the whole team got mad at him. And that's actually whenever Hartley made his move. So what happens is Harrison Wells is admiring his Reverse Flash suit, and then Cisco and Caitlin are up in the lab, and they're just chilling, and then Barry is with Iris and they're having a drink at Coco Jitters. And then we see how Hartley takes the little earpiece out of his ear and makes the door explode, pretty much, so he can get out. And then once he gets out, he pretty much makes a mess of the whole lab. But what we see, the really cool thing is, Harrison Wells uses his powers again, flashes and tries to stop Hartley, but then after he gets like these, like I don't know how to call it, but like he stops, and then after it's like he has like a headache or something after he flashes. And then once he flashed away, he was like laying on the ground because he couldn't get back up. And then he called Barry Allen to come help him. And then once Barry arrived, it was too late, and he was already gone. But while this was going on, like while Cisco, he tried opening the door, but then after it exploded on him, which was how Hartley got out. And then Hartley like smacked Caitlin, and then after she was knocked out, and then he stole the Flash's molecular readings or whatever, and all of his anatomy and whatever. And then we see Harrison Wells do like a press conference for some reason, because he wanted to tell the whole city that he knew the risks of the particle accelerator, and he was sorry and he wanted to gain their trust back. And then at the like second fight scene, we see Barry pretty much get his ass kicked because he copied the stuff that like Barry's molecular stuff plus the Flash's suit. So he knew the frequency that was coming out of his ear piece that let him communicate with Harrison and all them. And then after, pretty much what happened was he was pretty much bleeding out of his mouth, and then Harrison hacked into a satellite, and then after made the gloves of Pied Piper useless, and Barry was okay again. Barry scooped him up, put him into the same prison, and then we see the final scene, well, one of the final scenes. We also saw Harrison Wells, and he was in front of the suit near the end of the episode, and he put on the tachyonic particles, like not with the, he didn't put it on with the suit, but he just put it on his body, and he said to like look like to whatever her name is, that lady, and then after to look up something with the tachyonic particles, and then after she said inconclusive, then he said it's okay, the end game is near. What does that mean? I'm really wondering. And also, he mentioned something about the Speed Force too, so I'm pretty sure that the Speed Force is gonna come into play, and something about 29% of the Speed Force he had, so maybe Barry has the other percentage of the Speed Force, or there may be 3 Flashes that equally take up the same amount, but it would be 33.3333% that each of them would have. So maybe Harrison Wells got gypped like 10%, or a little bit less than 10, like 6, I don't know. We'll find out. And yeah, he talks to Cisco and says, you're gonna let me out of here. And then he says, why? And he says, because I know where Firestorm is, and I know like what's up with him, and how to fix him. Bam, right there. So this is pretty much an introduction to the Firestorm setting and plot and stuff, and more episodes to come. And then we also see at the end how Barry was talking to Iris and stuff, and then they did stuff, and with what happened with Detective Joe and Eddie, they were talking about searching him a little bit more. So I hope you enjoyed my review of The Flash and what happened and the recap of it, and I hope you enjoyed the trailer for the next episode. So like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.